The Air China Boeing 747 aircraft carrying the Chinese leader Hu Jintao and wife Liu Yongqing touched down at the Sima International Airport at exactly 7:55 p.m. this Tuesday and taxied majestically to the presidential lodge, where Prime Minister Ephraim Inoni and wife Gladys were waiting to welcome them. When the doors of the aircraft opened, it was a powerful Chinese media delegation that alighted first. The Director of State Protocol, Dominique Awana Esama, then moved in for the necessary arrangement. When he came out, the august guest then appeared at the doorsteps of the aircraft and waved to the cheering delegation of Chinese residents here in Cameroon, who turned out to welcome their president and wife. The Chinese leader and wife then received a warm handshake and embrace from Prime Minister Ephraim Inoni and wife before moving on to receive the traditional bouquets of flowers. The constituted corps, made up of Cameroon's ambassador to China, the Chinese ambassador to Cameroon, Wang Sifa, the governor of the Central Province, the SDOs of Mfundi and Mefu Afama, and the government delegate to the Yaoundé Urban Council, all took turns to shake hands with the Chinese leader and wife, who are visiting Cameroon for the very first time. The red carpet reception then made way for a brief stopover in the presidential lodge of the airport. And so begins this historic visit, the first by a Chinese president to Cameroon in 36 years of diplomatic relations.
Shortly before the arrival of President Hu Jintao and Madame Liu Yongqing, an impressive number of Chinese residents in the country turned out with both the Chinese and Cameroonian flags as if to say, we are here to do business for both Cameroon and China. Yaoundé dwellers, on their part, answered present with traditional dances to show their reputed hospitality despite the late evening arrival of the presidential couple. The Boeing 747 carrying President Hu Jintao and Madame and an impressive delegation stealthily touched down on the tarmac of the airport as scheduled, that is 8:05 p.m. After the welcome at the airport by Prime Minister Ephraim and Gladys Inoni, the motorcade drove through the 15-kilometer distance from Simalen to the Hilton Hotel, where a joyous crowd was there trying to catch a glimpse of the president of the world's fourth largest economy. The Hilton Hotel and surroundings, where the august guests will be lodged for 3 days, had recently received a clean sweep from the government delegate, who had asked a local bus company to quit the premises before it is too late. And so began the first day of the first ever visit by a Chinese president to Cameroon.
For a state visit, it has really been one with a difference. For a demonstration of true friendship and a show of South-South solidarity, it has really been one with the minutest details as far as the relationship taken into consideration. Look at this. A 400-meter-long red carpet unfolded for the Chinese presidential couple. Detachments of the military from all the different forces of the Republic, to which is added a well-organized state protocol. The Communications Department of the Civil Cabinet ensured that all is tailored to the exigencies of the day. Extraordinarily, the esplanade of Dignity Palace is transformed into a kind of Tiananmen Square in front of the People's Great Hall, the equivalent of the State House in China. And this stream of human heads, some dancing and others waving the flags of both countries in a show of solidarity. Extraordinarily, President Paul Biya and wife drive out of Dignity Palace to the esplanade, a distance of close to a kilometer, to receive the Chinese presidential couple Hu Jintao and Liu Yongqing. But Paul Biya, proud to the arrival of his guest, ensures that all is ready as planned, concerting as such with some of his close collaborators. This is the first handshake between both presidents since the arrival of the Chinese president on Tuesday, January 30, for the beginning of a 72-hour state visit to Cameroon, a visit described by many as historic and revolutionary, given the stakes involved and the challenges thereto. President Paul Biya has, by this visit, opened the year 2007 with one monstrous diplomatic achievement compared only to the Green Tree and the completion point. After going through all protocol activities, both presidential couples then mount the presidential limousine straight into the State House with streams of children on both sides of the alley of the presidency, clapping and waving their flags in an innocent salutation of both leaders. The ensuring tete-a-tete is actually an enlarged meeting between the accompanying delegations of both presidents, with President Hu Jintao admiring the architectural finesse of the State House. For Paul Biya, however, this is nothing compared to the great and the magnificence of the People's Great Hall in China. The welcome speech of President Paul Biya is an elogious one on the strong bilateral relations between China and Cameroon, especially as both countries share convergent views in almost all areas of bilateral and multilateral cooperation in the world. For Paul Biya, the Chinese model of development is worthy of emulation. 8 important economic, financial, development, and social cooperative agreements are signed on the occasion. At the end of the signatures, the President of Cameroon then accompanies his Chinese guest to the doorsteps of the State House in very convivial and friendly footsteps that showcase their intimacy. The family photograph will remain a memorable picture for posterity to note that on the 31st of January 2007, Hu Jintao was in Cameroon.